Okay, see, it's June 1st at 5:32, 5:37. Okay, call this meeting to order. Roll call. Robert Boris, Commissioner.
Bill Gross, Commissioner.
Kyle Schrader, member.
Suzanne Ellery, sure.
Joe Dela Cruz. Am I a member?
Oh,
Okay. Full fledged.
You can't get out now.
Fast.
I didn't know that either. So like
We don't have T-shirts yet.
Next week.
Okay, excellent. Any public communications?
So nobody remote as it stands.
Yes, sir. Like to speak?
Is this the point for public?
Yes, sir.
Resident, 19 Birmingham Court.
Yep.
In Quonic Ridge, which is Fort Hill Homes. And I'm also a member of the RTM District 1, which is Fort Hill Homes. And my interest is in the Community Challenge Grant, the projects, the Quonic neighborhood. Have you earmarked any projects yet? I'd like to know what they are.
I can try to address that. Do you have any other comments or questions, or is that simply?
Well, not at this time, but I'd like to know what that grant is being spent for.
Sure. I think the easiest thing is it's public record. I could provide a copy of that proposal to the state. That's probably the easiest way. The EDC did not, they were not involved in actually developing that. It was town staff and approved by the council. But in general, basically it included a few projects.
Which are,
The projects include some market rate housing, roughly about 200 units. They include about 51 affordable units at Grasso Gardens. There's some roadway improvements, boardwalk improvements. The gazebo at the boardwalk will be, it's basically gone at this moment, at least the
you said 200 units. Where are these going to be?
basically they'll be located on private property that's being acquired across from town hall. The former, well, there's a purchase and sale agreement on the Ackley property. Those are the largest parts of the program, unless there are other parts that I've missed.
There are other components, projects that the town is getting funded by other sources, improvements to Sutton Park, for example. So those serve as a match where other non-state money is coming in to be a match or leverage private and state money. Another key component besides some roadway paving that the town is doing is pedestrian connections. So there's going to be some extensions and connections of sidewalks along Route 1. And another key element of that is a pedestrian bridge across Pequannock River. So as Paige mentioned, the Pequannock River boardwalk that needs to be redecked. But the pedestrian bridge right now, you can walk along the roadway, but it's actually internal to the guide rail, the guardrail, so it's not optimal for pedestrian safety. So pedestrian bridge across the Pequannock River is part of the project. That's
The
large
state, I mean, you're probably familiar with the program, but if you wanted to get more backdrop regarding the state's program, you can Google that online, the Community Challenge Grant Program, and learn what the state's looking for, how they actually reviewed these projects. And to date, we're pretty proud that the town actually received the largest allocation out of any municipality.
Very much at the guidelines of the grant anyways.
Definitely, but we competed well, is my point. So it's, you know, as Sam said, you have to take some public investment. Some of that was through the town's already allocated funding for capital improvement programs. Some of it was ARPA money that was allocated to town projects. So we tried to leverage that for additional money, and we were successful in doing it.
Didn't we already put a lot of money towards something? Is that all finished or was that able to receive additional funding?
No, there's no extra funding coming towards that. I'm just referencing the fact that the money that's being allocated towards Sutton Park serves as a match or a leverage so that the state was comfortable being a partner investor in the project.
They want to make sure that you have some skin in the game. And they want to make sure,
Do something at the intersection.
There-
Do something there.
Yeah, there are definitely a number of improvements that are going to be ongoing to Sutton Park.
We put like 895,000 into Sutton Park already.
I don't remember the dollar amount,
Yeah.
but in short, we used the local monies as a match, skin in the game to leverage additional state funding. So I think, what is it, 8.4?
Roughly.
8.4 million, I believe. That's the total award. But more than happy to share the proposal with you.
I can forward my email.
That's great. Yeah.
I gotta add that I'm just not really keen on the purchase of the property across from the town hall unless it's for expanding the housing, et cetera, not for open space. I think that was forwarded at one time.
Are you,
Open space.
the property across from town hall, you're talking about the Ackley property?
Correct.
Yeah, not Groton Family Farm down the road, right? The Ackley property.
Yeah, one of those properties is already, I believe, somebody's made a down payment on it or something.
But yeah, straight across from town hall,
Correct.
kind of behind the mobile home park,
Right.
that land area will be for housing. Private development, town's not buying it. The developer is acquiring it and building it at their own cost. That's the plan.
Oh. Okay, that's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
for coming.
Appreciate it. Okay, approval of minutes. Everybody give a chance to read. Paige made some corrections on the attendance, I think.
I was not at this meeting, but I noted others that are listed that were not in attendance as well. Carlos, Kyle. I was not there and Lauren Pote not there, so I would recommend any motion makes a correction. Strike.
What roll call you're talking?
On-
These are just the members, but this is roll call, so this is who attended. These are the
Oh, I
members.
see.
Down below is roll call, so who actually attended the meeting.
My bad.
No, that's fine.
You would like to retract?
I will retract my.
Make a motion to accept the minutes. Yeah.
Motion, second, okay, all those in favor to accept the minutes?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. Thank you. The old business, business outreach.
We met for the first time as a group, small group for business outreach on May 23rd, just to talk about what we want to do, set membership, agree on a date and time to meet. So we've agreed that we're going to meet once a month on the fourth Tuesday at 10 a.m. We also talked about membership, and Kyle has joined us as a member. So the members will be myself, Bob, Bill, Kyle, Paige, Lauren, and Leanne. We're gonna ask everybody, but that's just it's the same group of people meeting, so we don't want to invite everybody. However, Leanne was talking about the importance of Groton Utilities and how they really helped with the GBA years ago, the Groton Business Association, and perhaps you'd be willing, Aaron, to join us when you can.
For 10 a.m.
Is that too hard to do?
Is there bacon? Bacon's involved.
Bacon?
Definitely. No, I can. No, yeah, I'll try to put it on.
Okay, I will
Where do you mean?
here. But if you
In this
can't,
room?
we'll let you know here, or last time we did meet here, but we meet other small rooms, so we'll let you know. And also we'll provide Zoom link if you can't attend. if it's
That's
too
the-
hard for you to leave your business for that
Fourth Tuesday?
the fourth Tuesday, and we're trying to keep them to 45 minutes, trying to be very efficient and come prepared topics and sharing best practices and sharing what we're doing to try to create opportunities with businesses and meeting up with businesses. So thank you, Erin. That's great. Noted that we will add you.
We just make sure that Lauren puts Aaron on for the.
And so I'm going to share a story. So I'm a very kind of last minute girl, been very busy lately. So the morning of that meeting, I went out, I had 1 hour and I hit 5 businesses. And one of the businesses that I hit was the new Riley Auto Supply. And they weren't opening until next week. I didn't know that. So I just walked in, I saw a bunch of people and I told them I was here and I said, I came in, they were very happy for me to be there. Excited that I would take the interest to talk to them. I explained who we were, what we could do for them. They said, I asked, how to go with the town. The town has been great in welcoming them and they were excited to work with us. So that was great. He gave me his business card. So then I went into the capture tool that we have, which is really easy to use, and just added the name of the person I met with, their email, which is important for us if we want to reach out for activities or events or just to talk to them about the survey. I gave him the card that we have, which is being updated. This is the card we currently have that Lauren's updating with the QR code, and told him that if you go here, you can find us, take a quick survey, be helpful. Whether he did or not, I don't know. But I dropped off cards to other businesses as well. A couple businesses, people weren't there, but I just let them know, here's the card, and I'll do a follow-up when the owner is here. But I just wanted to share that story because it was a really good one. It was easy. It was less than 10 minutes for me to just pop in, say hi. And I got up behind the scenes before they opened. That was kind of cool. But anyway, it was a nice way to interact. And so just for those who haven't done it yet, some of us have done it a lot. It's easy and a really great way to meet people in the community. So I don't know if anybody else had anything else they wanted to share or any insights. We're going to be collecting this information, hopefully with the tool, but if there's anything that you think would be important for us to hear today about who you went to see and what they had to say, this would be the time to share it.
So I had the fortunate thing to sit down with Al Valenti briefly because we were both in the middle of voting. But I did have a conversation with GBA because that was something that he was involved with, and then he got into Main Street, so like that. And I kind of told him that it was of interest to see if we could kind of get that rejuvenated for them to do it. So we are planning to sit down and just discuss maybe some of the people that we want to reach out to and let them organize it and us be more of a conduit for it. Because I think that would be a great help to have a central body to be able to address as opposed to this kind of one-off. So good conversation. He's doing well. And he's very happy that he's removed from all of it. But
Just add to that. Leanne shared with me, and George, you gave me some great insight into the GBA. And I got a deeper understanding of how that could be a good liaison with the city, with Sierra Patrick. And so I'm exploring that more on outreach on that.
I'm actually meeting with Sierra on June 13th to talk about this and to see how we can rally our forces, hear what they're doing, learn from her, talk about any events they're doing, how can we partner. So that'll be on the afternoon of the 13th. So I'll report back after that meeting.
And one of the things that dawned on me is that GBA is not under us. It's its own thing. So we can support them. The Groton Utilities can support them. So it gives a lot of flexibility for the business community to come together and kind of have our blessing and our input to sort of run with things. So I know you've been telling me for a long time, value of that. And so Leanne, I think we figured out how to do that without, standing up another Chamber of Commerce thing.
well, they also provided liaison, and that's invaluable because they can come back and give just direct feedback as a group. Right. So.
Yeah.
And just so I'm clear, but this is completely independent of the Greater Mystic Chamber as well, too, right?
Yes. Yeah, it was.
Not the same.
If you remember, it was, because you had 3 of them basically, and then they kind of combined a little bit. And then you had Main Street, then you had the Mystic Chamber, and then Groton they thought they were combining forces and.
Downtown Mystical.
Right. So then whatever happened, that's why GBA kind of went and trying to get them to
I got you.
and focus on our downtown, central Groton, all these areas that were
The main thrust of this is to make sure everybody's covered, and there's been a lot of discussion that there's some dead spots within the town, city kind of overlap here that businesses don't necessarily feel they have the coverage that they need, so we're gonna do this in the right way. Sir,
I was just gonna comment, yeah, I think GBA doesn't exist today. So this would be like a GBA version 3.0. You know, it's gone through different evolutions and there's the chamber involved, but yeah, I think any future GBA would be independent, quite different from maybe what it was before.
Does anybody have anything else to share around businesses they've talked to recently? Or if you haven't had time yet, please go into the capture tool. Yeah, it's super easy. And I know that Lauren put out another call for us to approve our business cards. They're pretty basic, but if you get a chance to go, I think it'll be really helpful to have our own card with the QR code on it. I think there was a little snappy with the QR code. Is it?
Yeah.
And the printer's backed up as well. So yeah, our source. So yes, please approve it if you haven't already. And Laura's working on it. Yes.
I was just gonna comment, we had in that committee, we had a conversation about why it's important to have the formal committee. For posting requirements and quorum. You know, it's not the thing that we love doing, but we have to be attentive to Freedom of Information Act requirements. So it's important that we understand who is on this committee. Doesn't mean that other people, but knowing the membership of the committee is important for a few reasons.
And also for the meeting to be reported publicly. I think 48 hours or something.
Yeah, we're gonna take minutes, record it.
Question, as a subcommittee, are they required with quorums because there's no voting taking place?
Yes,
Uh,
minutes are required
I
too.
knew minutes, but I didn't know since it's a non-voting body, that quorum had to be present.
Yeah. Yeah. But we have, as you know, in our bylaws, fairly lenient quorum requirements. So I think that leniency would carry to our committee as well.
I just encourage everybody to use the tools the town staff set up to do outreach, to collect the information. I know summer's here, everybody's getting busy. Myself, I had intended to do more than I did on that, but thank you for everything you're doing on that, and get out there and you know, it's kind of fundamental for all the reasons we discussed, to make contact with the business community and make sure we're, you know, reverberating their specific needs rather than what we think are important. Bob.
I haven't had time because the T-ball owner of our team is very brutal and has a demanding schedule all carved out.
Win a championship.
Yeah. You gotta spend the money, you know, you gotta. No, I haven't had a chance, but I do wanna mention about the Tuesday morning one. We're talking about the half hour for lunch. It might be barred for us for the short period because EB has us so busy. So that's something I probably wouldn't be able to attend on the Tuesdays, and it wasn't, probably should have answered by email, but definitely appreciate you guys being able to carve out that time, but I wouldn't be able to join you on those days. But I'll be here, and I eat at all the businesses. I just gotta talk in between while I'm chewing, I guess.
Great, thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Okay, any new business?
I just got, the Groton sale thing I'm gonna mention again, because we're here and we're on camera, and there's some folks that weren't here last time. I meet the first Thursday for the sale, and there's actually a reunion coming up, so all the sailors from the actual Groton boat are coming for their reunion. And we're gonna try to launch an auction that same, it's July 6th and 7th. And it'll be on the Facebook, you know, on the Groton sale, if you guys wanna just go friend that and take a look and really make sure to reach out if we're going to businesses. Those squares for $250, I just saw it in person, they're amazing. So you can, if you're honoring just even someone that works at EB, or they own a business in town, or in the service, it can be anybody. And for $250, it will be there forever. And the monument's gonna be gorgeous and beautiful, and It's definitely a good investment, especially if you have a veteran, you know, so that's to think of somebody like that, just name, rank and where they serve. That's it.
You know what the material is?
It's actually, I got to hold it in my hand today for the first time, and it's a pretty heavy paver. And I think the technology I used where it's layered, so when they carve it in, it's a sharp black. A gray stone with a sharp black underneath. It looks really, I mean, they were able to cover, you know, when they have the two dolphins in front of the base. It's probably roughly 4 inches by 2 inches, and it's really defined. Almost like they're etching it and there's a background already in it. I don't know the process. They might paint it, but it just looks like it's very impressive, very impressive.
Those can be purchased not only for service member, but also like say like a teacher that have been in the Groton school system.
Anybody.
Anybody.
Yeah, I mean, when we were trying to think of who was involved, you know, when dad goes and or mom goes out and serves, the kids are serving in their own way. So we really wanted to honor everybody, and it's just an opportunity for everyone to, and it's, you know, your name will be there for perpetuity. You know, the thing's not going anywhere. And there's trees that are available for like 10,000. We have all kinds of money. If you got, I mean, we need all. You guys want to spend some money, but there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of places where you can do it. And I think maybe that could be part of reaching out when you're on your way out the door, say, oh yeah, this thing's coming up. Cause I have 10 businesses I have to go see for them. Big Y, if you listen, I'm coming.
It's a twofer.
Twofer. It's gonna be a twofer.
Yeah.
I'm very efficient.
Well, we probably can't buy a tree, but is there something, is it appropriate for the EDC to buy a tile?
Sure.
This,
Let's find out.
complicated
Let's
conversation.
find out.
Yeah,
Not your first customer.
no, not the first. We're selling.
Okay.
That's good.
Well, thanks, Joe. All right, chair report. I sent response to Councilor McBride. That's everybody got a copy of that related to the property reviews committee. Also spoke, I've been speaking, trying to coordinate with Walker Potts. I talked about that last time about him coming here and kind of giving us a 5-minute about his stuff and talking about the Naval Consortium and also trying to find some biotech related, blue tech related things. George had mentioned that's a good idea. And I think I'm going to try to integrate that in. It's summer's coming, so it might be a little difficult, but I'm working on those schedules. And I discussed earlier also working, the city had a few different seminars and things related to housing in the city. And I had the opportunity to start to talk to Sierra related to us working the GBA thing again. So we'll continue with that. That's all I have. Staff reports.
Okay. Just a few highlights. ARPA, moving forward, we're still in the process of allocating the funding. We're dealing with the grant agreements between the project recipients and our attorney. So we want to make sure that those are right. They should be out to each of the projects this month, June. Community Investment Fund, similar to what the chair was mentioning, town staff has spoke with city staff as well. There are only certain eligible municipalities in the state that are qualified to apply. The town of Groton is one. They don't allow all municipalities, and also political subdivisions are not allowed to apply either. So we were interested in actually applying for a project in partnership with the city. We would do the heavy lifting, the application, since we're an eligible entity. We had looked at Thames Street, trying to get them to buy in on a planning grant. I don't think they're quite ready for that yet, but we'll continue to try. There's another meeting scheduled, I think in about a week or so, between the town and city staff to try to advance something. We're not going to meet the June 30th deadline for this is round 3. So I think we would be looking at the next round, but we continue to look for projects. There is multi-million available through the CIF. George is aware of that. George has had conversations with the state. So we're going to keep pushing on that front. I do think that a previous submittal that was not awarded will be resubmitted. That's the TVCCA for their daycare facility. We were kind of a partner of theirs in submitting it, but they take the lead. I think they're gonna submit again by June 30th. They were asking for, I was like 10 million, $12 million, I think. Community Challenge Grant that just came up. Basically, Sam's in the lead on that and coordinating with the state. We're trying to move towards a legal agreement, but there are some details we still have to provide to them, but it's advancing. I had previously mentioned, and why I wasn't here last month, is the Select USA Investment Summit that was held early May that I attended. Pretty amazing event. There was a Connecticut team, and I detail who attended. There were some other municipalities as well, Stanford, New Haven, Hartford. And I provided some details, a description within my report straight from the Department of Commerce that describes that event. Also within the report are some highlights that I extracted from the website. Case in point, about 4,900 attendees. These are foreign investors and also representatives from multiple states and the federal government. It was pretty significant, pretty intense event, many different meetings, conversations about new ideas, startups, existing companies looking to jump and start business within the United States. I think the big lesson that the federal government wanted to teach them was that each state is different. It's somewhat of a different, that's a new concept for some smaller foreign countries. They're accustomed maybe to one standard, but how things are done in California could be quite different than Connecticut. And so there was a strong emphasis on that point. Moving into public property redevelopment, no activity in Mystic Education Center. We're still in a holding pattern with Groton Heights. We're waiting for the council to finalize their excess property review before we deal with new RFPs. Star Highway, nothing formal yet, but a lot of developer interest. They basically have to get something done they have to select the developer by the end of the summertime, because there are internal processes that they have to fulfill, including going back to the council. So I'm optimistic that we'll hear something by the end of the summer on that. Triton Square, the former Sealy School. I think you may have read in the paper that their zoning appeal by an abutter had been addressed, so the applicant prevailed. They are now free to move forward. I did put in the report that they submitted building plans, not quite. They're almost here, but they're not in our office just yet. It's over 300 units. They plan on breaking ground, I think, by the end of the summer. It's roughly a 2-year construction cycle. Also, Colonel Ledyard School. I attended the public hearing May 16th with the city's planning and zoning commission. The applicant presented their plans. I think the commission was fairly warm to it. They'll vote, I believe, this month on it. I anticipate it will pass. So that's a smaller project, about 64 units. And then no activity on Pleasant Valley, similar to Groton Heights. We are awaiting the town council to complete their excess property process so that we can move forward with the RFPs. I want to just make sure you look at the bottom of page 3, highlighting the greater Groton activity page. We're always trying to increase public engagement, and Sam and Lauren do a great job in tracking these numbers. So we continue to add these to the monthly report. You're going to want to see what sort of activity engagement individuals are having with our site. We're using that really as the driver to push information out into the community about various initiatives, issues, etc. In some ways, that tool, that greater Groton tool, is going to be a key instrument as we jump into the future plan of conservation and development update, which is right around the corner. Hoping that the EDC will be involved in that. That effort is led by the Planning and Zoning Commission, but we need stronger representation when that plan is written. And I think some of the ideas that we'll want to get some input on will be placed on Greater Groton. I think the last point I'd make, we've been tracking unemployment data mainly from COVID forward, and notice Groton for April. This is a lagging indicator. It's always behind. April, Groton's at 2.8% unemployment. That's the lowest I've seen it in a long time. The region, the Norwich, New London, Westerly region's at 2.9. That's also dropped. And the state has come down to at 3%, but fairly low. So that's it.
Thanks, Paige. Anything, any other staff? Okay, liaisons. Sir?
Yep, no problem. So a couple of little events we had, USS Oregon went down to Fleet Week. And did a whole bunch of events and a couple of it's always a neat thing for them to do, and they get to meet a lot of people, show off the boat and stuff. So it's kind of a cool thing that they get to do. It did several activities for Memorial Day. Obviously, 21 gun salute. We had several of our folks too. On the second page, going back to the we kind of a neat little thing. I don't know if you know Emily Melandrelli. I'm not sure. She's one of these YouTube superstar type people, and she's a science teacher, I guess, scientist, and she has pretty good following. And she got to ride down to New York on one of her subs. Wait, she just got a call out of the blue. Some officer, hey, you want to take a ride? So she came to the base and actually rode down on this one of the subs in New York. So it's like a 24-hour trip for her. Do a lot of different things with the sailors, I guess. So watch your YouTube channel or what have you, and she's gonna put a bunch of videos out, I guess, on the process. So should be fun to watch. Those are always fun. Groton Rotary Club honored MMA one Matthew Holt as a service person of the month for April. And if you read through the write up here, there's a whole bunch of good things that he's done for both the Navy and the towns. So that's quite an honor for him. Lastly, as I think I mentioned in my last write up, we had our little flag Gold Star flag guard ceremony again, which is always very touching. Really, one of the Gold Star mothers always speaks at it, and was certainly no exception this year. So those are always very touching to pay honor to the Gold Star families of the state and certainly of the nation. So good event. If you ever get over there to attend one of those, they're always very touching. So that's all I have.
Thanks, Stephen.
Thank you very much. Best utility in New England.
Boy, I hope so. So I submitted my report, so I won't go through everything. There is an update on rates, so you may have heard, so Eversource came out with their updated standard offer, which takes place July 1st or starts July 1st for the preceding or the next 6 months. They basically cut it in half. I'm rounding, but even then we'll still be a good solid 20% below Eversource. So I think obviously we stay competitive.
Can I ask a question? So the way I saw it was the state allowed to cut one down, but another fee was raised up. So the net was, okay, you're saving money. Does that fee still stays up? So when they come back in December to raise them again? Is that how the game works? I was just curious because I was like,
Well, I don't know what the fee is that you're referring to, but I can tell you, like the standard offer, it went up to like 24 cents in January. It's coming down to 13.5 cents.
yeah, there's another thing that offsets some of that savings. I was like, is that a stuck fee? They mentioned it as some type of, I don't know if it's a transmission or but that went up, this came down. So you're like, wow, I'm saving money. But then when they go back to December to raise rates back again, which is they normally do.
Yeah,
That fee doesn't go anywhere.
I'd be curious on what the line item is. They do have obviously multiple line items. They do have some variable like congestion charges and things of that nature, but I'd have to know a little bit more, I think, but.
Well, I'll look into it more for you then.
But even when the standard offer, just on the energy portion, you know, obviously, we're gonna stay competitive and still save our customers quite a bit of money. And then the last thing I think I'll highlight, and I had an opportunity, so NEPA, which is the New England Public Power Association, they had their engineering and operations conference maybe a few weeks ago, and I had the opportunity to go up there. I was in Plymouth, New Hampshire. I actually spoke at the event about advanced metering and things of that nature, but what I was able to kind of witness is one of the mini lineman rodeos. So it wasn't the main event, because that actually happens in June here. But those line worker workshops and drills are really fun. They're really neat to watch. If you ever get an opportunity, it's a really fun event, but it just helps them develop their technical and climbing skills. And it just reinforces like safety and professionalism, things of that nature. And it's a lot of fun. So their main event comes up here June 7th, and that's in Littleton, Massachusetts. That's
They're like fireman rodeos they have too.
similar,
Yeah.
similar thought. Yep. Yep.
That's really cool. Yeah.
But for line members.
Thank you very much. Any other business? All right, motion to adjourn,
Wow.
So moved.
second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Motorcycle ride? I don't think so.